It tastes nice, but it's a pretty shitty hydration drink.
Yes, Mike Mentzer was right.
Yo, bro, let me call you back because I'm doing my cardio. Yeah, man, I feel so much better since I incorporated more cardio in my routine.
Sounds like Mike Mentzer was right once again.
I guess gravity is real.
Yes, Mike Mentzer was right again, huh?
Water hydrates you.
And Mike Mentzer was right.
Things have been going great in the gym lately, man. My daughter had her second birthday the other day. Life is good at the moment. Still getting my workouts in, not sweating the details that much, and I'm truly blessed. That's great, bro. I'm barely listening. Mike Mentzer was right, though. Who the fuck is Mike Mentzer? Who is Mike Mentzer?
Mike Mentzer is that guy, bro. The guy that came up with stuff like doing less is more. Who the fuck are you, bro?
Mike Mentzer may have been right about some things, but he was also wrong about many things. So let's get into it. Who is Mike Mentzer? Mike Mentzer was an American bodybuilder and author, best known for his involvement in the competitive bodybuilding world in the 1970s, but also for the development of the heavy-duty training methodology. Essentially, Mike Mentzer advocated for very short but extremely intense workouts, highlighting the importance of keeping training volume extremely low in order to maximize muscle growth and maximize recovery, arguing against higher training volumes and even going as far as to saying that they could be deleterious to one's program. Mike Mentzer and his training philosophy have sort of exploded back on the scene, as you often see with things that go out of fashion and then come back a few years later. People just keep bringing up how he was right and how low volumes are indeed the best thing you can do for muscle gains, and how all the things he said were so ahead of his time and how he was ahead of science and so on and so forth. Let's look at a few videos of Mike Mentzer claiming things that are simply not true. All right, video number 1, the best bicep exercise.
Palms up, pull down is the best bicep exercise in the world. Better than any curl you can do.
So he said the palms up pull down, lat pull down, is the best bicep exercise you can do, better than a direct bicep exercise.
Here's why. When you do a curl, whether it's a barbell curl, a nautilus curl, a dumbbell curl, whatever, you're working this muscle around a single joint axis, the elbow, which is why the stress is limited exclusively to the lower bicep, if you've noticed. When doing a closed grip palms up pull down, on the other hand, you're working the bicep around the joint, the elbow joint, and the shoulder. The muscle is contracting more uniformly from both ends.
This is literally based on absolutely nothing, just Mike Mentzer saying a bunch of words. If you do a proper bicep curl or any sort of curl variation, you are working your bicep very effectively. Doing a lat pull down for your biceps, where it's literally a lat pull down, you're heavily involving your back as well. Obviously, your biceps are doing the work. Is not going to magically target the whole bicep better than a curl because of the way the elbow joint is moving. This is literally just Mike Mentzer saying stuff. Zero direct evidence to support this. And intuitively doesn't make that much sense as well. Let's move to another video. So this is called How Often Should You Train?
About 6 days to rest up. That's quite a bit, although not necessarily adequate. We don't know that. That's why we keep a progress chart. If you're not getting stronger every workout, you may have to reduce your training frequency from once every 6 days to once every 7, 8, 9, or even 10 if you have some clients do it.
So he's saying that if you're not, that you may have to be training even less frequently, once, and I assume he means for every body, for every muscle group, once every 7, 8, or 10 days per week, if you're not getting stronger every session. Keep in mind that strength and your performance in each session can be affected by a multitude of factors. Stress outside of the gym, sleep, how busy you are with work, how busy you are with your family, physical activity outside the gym, all that can come into play and affect your performance in one session. Your performance from week to week is not really that much of a big deal as long as you're trending upwards as far as performance over time. Also, doing one session for each muscle group every 10 days is going to massively limit the amount of overall training volume that you can get in a week. And we know that training volume seems to be quite important for hypertrophy. You do not need to do 100 sets per muscle group per week, but staying somewhere in the 10 to 20 sets per muscle group per week range, if you're trying to absolutely maximize muscle growth, makes sense. How bad is taking an extra day off? Let's see.
Is overcompensating. That means getting stronger and bigger on the 6th day. Then why would he automatically start decompensating or losing muscle on the 7th or 8th day? It's not going to hurt. Correct. The point is, by taking an extra rest day or 2 off, there's no threat of a loss, there's no threat of a negative, you can't lose anything, but there is the actuality of a positive, and the positive is that you have that much greater assurance that in fact enough time will elapse between workouts to allow for both full recovery and full growth production. The conclusion of this being that if you work out again before recovery and growth production have been completed, you short circuit the growth process shy of 100 possible units and start digging another hole, making another inroad into recovery ability. So you were smart. You took the 2 extra days off.
I agree with taking an extra day or 2 off is not gonna cause you to lose muscle. But if those extra 2 days off could be spent training and doing a bit more training volume, you could be missing out on potential gains. But at the same time, the idea that you are somehow further enhancing your potential gains by taking even more days off does not really make that much sense. In most cases, 24 to 48 hours are going to be more than enough for you to hit the gym and even hit the same muscle group again, still stimulate growth, even if you have hit that specific muscle group the day before. Obviously, that would require a bit more meticulous planning. But the idea that taking even more days off is going to magically allow you to make even more gains or will enhance the workout that you did 3 days ago is not really grounded on much. Going from 1 to 2 sets is the biggest mistake you can make.
Followed by an ask, Mike, would it make a difference? Would it really take to do a second set? You keep making such a big deal about doing 1 set.
It would make a big difference. Huge difference, actually. When you're talking about such low training volumes, going from 1 to 2 sets is literally you're doing double the amount of training volume as you were doing before. You could be making significantly more gains just by adding that extra set.
Doing a second set is neither necessary nor desirable. In fact, it would be the biggest mistake you could make. Going from 1 set to 2 sets is literally the biggest mistake you could make. Because going from 1 to 2, audience, is not merely a linear increase of 1 unit.
Losing it again.
That's a doubling, a 100% increase in the volume of the exercise. That's a negative. Even 1 set represents a negative because insofar that you trade it all, you make an inroad. Well, some people might say, well, Mike, if I do a second set, maybe I'll get a little bit more growth stimulation. But then I point out, whatever little bit extra growth stimulation, you made a doubling deeper recovery ability, so that negates any greater growth stimulation.
Absolute nonsense here. This is legit nonsense. Going from 1 to 2 sets is somehow the worst mistake you can make because you're further hampering your recovery, and even 1 set is a negative. What? Going from 1 to 2 sets, or even from 3 to 6 sets, you could be looking at significantly greater muscle growth just by going from super low to low training volumes. And the idea that you're somehow this fragile organism that an extra set is going to really hamper your recovery and you're not going to be able to gain muscle, this is all fear mongering and mumbo jumbo. People can withstand much more than just a single set. All right, so this has been copyright struck, but let's just read what it says. Having achieved your purpose of triggering the growth mechanism into motion by going to failure on that 1 set, you don't have to do it again. You don't need a second set. It's like when you throw the switch to turn on a light. Once the light is on, you are confident that the electrical mechanism will remain in motion. There's no need to flip the switch up and down repeatedly. You just wear it out. Okay. Horrible analogy. That's not how muscle growth works. Obviously, 1 set is enough to kickstart that mechanism and tell your body, hey, it's time to start growing. But doing more further enhances that process and allows your body to make even more gains. That was it. I think that serves as a good example of why you should be critical and why you shouldn't just have this sort of herd mentality where If a lot of people say that Mike Mentzer was right, one may assume that he was indeed right about everything. I'm sure he helped a lot of people and popularized resistance training, and we have to love him for that. But at the same time, don't just take whatever some guy, even if that guy is not Mike Mentzer, don't take it as gospel just because people want it to be true. I get it. We all want a few sets per week to be enough for us to absolutely get as yoked and as jacked as possible, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification icon, and buy my ebook, Heavy Duty by Dr. Pack, which is essentially Mike Mentzer's book, just with the front page and the author page ripped out. I'm reselling the book. It's my book now. I'll see you guys next time. It was right, Mike Mentzer was right! Δεν πειράζει, ρε, στα αρχίδια σου. Κάνεις φάση, δηλαδή, αλλάξουμε και λίγο, αν ένα καφέ. Guess Mike Mentzer was right then again, right? Δεν περίμενε τώρα, είπα κάτι, το κάνα σαρνάμε εκεί. Για πάμε πάλι. Guess Mike Mentzer was right again, huh?